Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. This is David Samson. I'm in for Bill Reiter again. It's the Writer's Block. It was so good yesterday, he's letting me do it again. And we have got quite a show for you. I'm going to give you some takeaways from opening day. And then guess what? We get to talk to Mo Vaughn. Yes, we do. And then we're going to go inside the numbers. Did you see what the Dodgers did yesterday? 8 home runs. It was a record. It's all coming up next. Let's roll. Welcome back. Let's start right now. I hope you watched opening day. It was amazing. All 30 teams in action. We got to see these free agents start with their new teams. Who was not watching Bryce Harper? Raise your hand. Were you? Did you see his first at-bat? Ground ball. Freddie Freeman, unassisted. Second at-bat. Strikeout. You'd think that was the story of the game, but it wasn't. There is a Harper impact that is already being felt, from the standing ovation to the fanatic cleats to what it meant for the lineup. Let's hear from Bryce Harper directly what he thought about his first game.
I think the whole team felt it. Just the energy there was in the ballpark today, the energy the guys brought today as well. Just everything. The atmosphere was unbelievable today. The place was rocking, all through the game. So just pretty unbelievable to be able to be part of it and get out there and play the game.
Philly, you've got 2,105 games left with Bryce Harper. You got to keep up that energy and recognize what he does to that order. When you've got Hoskins hitting the grand slam, do you know that intentional walk to Harper, you bring up Hoskins, what's an opposing manager going to do? You're going to not pitch to Harper because he's the one person on that team you don't want to beat you. They still managed to get the victory. Game 2 in that series coming up. What else happened opening day? Did you notice the seats? I did. There were a lot of people dressed as seats, and I would know. I used to run a team for 16 years where the seats looked a lot like people, or the people looked like seats. Let's look at the numbers. What was going on in Oakland? You're right, it was an opening day. It was Game 3. They get a mulligan. What about Tampa? Verlander, the defending Cy Young winner, 25,000 people. My old park, Marlins Park, 25,000 people. I'm not sure what to tell you. Colorado was never a big draw when I ran the Marlins, but opening day, they had all the ballpark enhancements. They got rid of the home run sculpture. What are you doing, Miami? Get to a game. This is an issue going on in baseball right now. They've got to figure out a way to get people to the ballpark. I don't think it's about the tacos. I don't think it's about the hot dogs. I think it's about the hope of winning. And this year, for the first time, not all 30 teams have a good chance of winning. How many do? Wait to see. I'm telling you, it's about 10, and that's it. You know what else was my takeaway? We've got a trend in baseball. I hope you like the long ball. I hope you like the strikeout. And what about the walk? Yep, home runs, strikeouts, they were everywhere. What I'm focused on right now is the power wins in Major League Baseball and how those two things dominated. And what do we do about that? There's nothing we can do. When you have a game where Max Scherzer dominates the way he did with 12 Ks, going against Jacob deGrom, you are going to have a game with 22 strikeouts. But what we teach our hitters is you're going to get paid by hitting home runs. When you hit home runs, you end up with strikeouts. And that's the bottom line. Until we change the arbitration system and how we pay pitchers and hitters, this is the baseball that you fans are going to get. If you don't want this, you better show us by not coming to games. You already did show us that. I guess it's incumbent upon us to make some changes. But if you like the long ball, you certainly got the long ball. What else was I focused on? Did you see what was going on over there in the NL Central? Did you watch the Cardinals game? Josh Hader, 2-inning save. Lorenzo Cain saves the game. Paul Goldschmidt, first game as a Cardinal, got to see what it's like to be in that NL Central. He had something to say about it.
Yeah, of course it's going to be tough. They're a great team. They showed that last year winning the division. So it's going to be a big challenge. And, they were able to make one more play than us today. But, it was back and forth. They did a great job. Our guys did a pretty good job, too.
What you're not seeing at that interview in the post-game clubhouse, there's players all around him. They're coming out of the shower. They're going into the food room, the excitement of opening day. Paul Goldschmidt has a contract, a new team. He's playing meaningful games already, and he's going to play all of them. And he's saying to himself, I got to face Josh Hader all season long. I haven't even faced the Cubbies yet. You're talking about 3 teams in this division. I think that the projections are completely wrong. I've done the simulation 1 time in my head, not 50,000 times in the computer, and I've got the Brewers winning 100% of the time. But it's going to be a dogfight. The Cubs are deep, not deep enough. I love the Brewers team, the defending NL MVP and Christian Yelich. But what I love more is that we're going to have a division race that's going to go from day 1 to day 162. And that matters, and that keeps fans excited. Well, we got a lot more to come. You know who's coming up next? Mo Vaughn's going to be here, and we're going to talk to him about what it's like for him when he was the MVP to be on a team like the Red Sox, and talk about the offseason of all 3 of Mo Vaughn's teams in his career. Stay tuned. This is David Samson, Writer's Block. We're coming back. Welcome back to Writer's Block. This is David Samson, and I am honored. It's amazing. We've got Mo Vaughn on the phone, and we got a lot to cover. Thanks for calling in, Mo. How are you?
Good. How you doing? Everything's all right?
I'm doing well. Hey, we're talking a lot about opening day today, Mo, and you had a lot of them. Tell me about how important was it for you on opening day to get your first hit, to get those zeros off the board, and to get the first win for your team?
Well, that's really, really important because for me, I was batting in the middle, the years that I was up in Boston, I was batting in the middle of the lineup. High impact, high pressure situation, which I always thought made me a better player, but you always want to get that first hit. You want to get that first home run. There's a lot of things that are going through your mind. You're jumping, for me, I was jumping from 75, 80 degrees into weather that really wasn't conducive to hitting, but you need to get off to a solid start. You want to really have your hits at the 200 at bat mark, because if you have your hit into the 200 at bat mark, your average is really not going to move that much. It's when you get that 200 at bat mark and you don't really have your hits, that it's hard to get back on top, for the rest of the season. So you really got to try to concentrate. Even though it's cold, it's this, it's that. You got some elements, but it's tough to get off. It's very important to get off to a good start, because your average is really not going to move after that 200 AB mark.
Yeah, we'd follow you. We agree with you, Mo. What we would do after opening day, if we won the game, we'd go into the clubhouse and say, hey, we just set the tone. What a great job, guys. And when we lost opening day, we'd walk in and say, hey, it's one game. It doesn't matter. We were off our routine. We'll go get them tomorrow. So either way, we were totally covered. Mo, I want to talk about your career. You played for 3 teams, and each of your teams had a pretty interesting offseason. Let's start, obviously, with the Red Sox. They are the defending World Series champions. Tell me, why has no team been able to defend his championship since the 98 to 2000 Yankees?
I think it's very, very hard. It takes. I've never been to the World Series. I've never been that far, but I've been to the playoffs before, and I just think it takes a tremendous amount of concentration to do that. You look at that Yankee team in '98; they were just so power packed. It was going to be tough to beat them anyway. But that Blue Jays team, '92, '93, did the same thing. But it's hard to do because you have to concentrate and focus. Everything's got to go right. No injuries, no pitching injuries. 8 guys pretty much playing consistently all year long, and without missing a lot of time. A lot of times teams don't go bad because they're bad. Teams don't make it because they have injuries. And the Red Sox, I don't know how many times they had their same lineup out there, but you had that outfield, you had the DH, JD was consistent, so they had their core personnel, basically with no injuries, and that's how you win.
Well, I want to focus you actually on the fact they brought back their entire team but Kimbrel. And when we won the World Series in '03, we didn't bring back Pudge, and we tried to figure out a way to replace him and D. Lee, and it's hard. The Red Sox went the other way. They brought everyone back. I'm looking at Mookie Betts. He wins the MVP. May not have even been the best player on his team if you look at JD, and I know you appreciate the season he had. But let's talk about Betts' MVP. You won the MVP in '95. Tell me, when you're trying to repeat his MVP, how quickly did you feel that pressure? How hard is that to defend?
Let me tell you, when I won the MVP, it was like it validated, myself and my mind. From that day on, I walked onto the field like I can handle any situation. So I actually went out and had a better year the next year after winning it. It's just something about, you get ready to hold that badge. Everybody, always talks, Albert Bell outplayed me. He had 50 home runs, 50 doubles. But the bottom line and the positions we're in, you got to drive in runs. If you look at our baseball cards, we both drove at 126 runs that year. So for me, it really took it kind of just validated me in my brain that man, I'm at the top of this game and I can play with all these guys and when I walked into the ballpark, I stepped on the field, I had that confidence consistently after that.
Well, you may want to call Mookie because he's going to want to try to defend his title because I think for the Red Sox to repeat, they're going to need Chris Sale to do better than he did last night, and they're going to need Mookie to have as good a season as he had. Then you move on. Let's move on. Anaheim. They made news this offseason. I hate to say it, talking to some of the older players, $430 million. But guess what Mike Trout has never done? Won a playoff game. Not even one. Tell me about your thoughts on Anaheim, the signing of Mike Trout, and whether you think that Trout can lead the Angels to a piece of jewelry.
I really like Mike Trout. I think I like, Manny Machado. I like Bryce Harper. But I really, really like Mike Trout. This guy comes to play and plays hard every single day. And I think, it's not easy. Being a GM is not easy. Running a company and running an organization is not easy. You got to get the players, and you got to get things to match, and then you got to gel as a team. I hope this guy deserves a chance to be in the playoffs, but he can't do it himself. But one thing you know about Mike Trout, he's going to show up and play hard and do everything on the field to win a ball game. He's going to run. He's going to throw. He's going to throw people out. He's going to defend. He's going to jump over the wall. He's going to hit home runs. He's going to take the extra base. That guy is going to do everything necessary every game to win. And I have no problems with him signing for $420-$30 million. I think he deserves it.
I do, Mo. Remember, I was on the other side. He does deserve it, but I'd like to see him. We called him an 8-tool player, not just a 5-tool. He's the best in the game. I'm happy for him, but I think that he needs to lead that team to a playoff win or two. And I was thinking back to watching you play, Mo, and you gave me indigestion. And I was thinking about some of these MLB rule changes, and I'm going back and thinking about you. And when you're hitting, and I want you to think about two changes especially and your view and how they would impact you. They're saying that pitchers would have to face a minimum of 3 hitters. That's an impact to a lefty. And they're talking about banning the infield shift. Let's focus on those two and your view of how those would impact you, your career, and what you think of them.
Listen, I didn't really worry about the shift. I inside out of the ball, I hit the ball all over the ballpark, so the shift didn't have anything. I hit the ball the other way just as well I hit the ball as I pulled it. So they need to ban that shift anyway. You know what I mean? You go out there, you got guys playing way out of position. Play it straight up. You want to move, 10 feet either way or, have one infielder move, that's fine. But, you have guys that are left-handed hitters that are smoking the ball in the hole or smoking the ball up the middle, and the guy's standing there. And I think, I just don't think it's good for the game. In terms of pitchers, whatever disadvantage they have, I'm all for it because that's just the way it is.
I knew I'd work you up, Mo.
I want all the advantage offensively, and I'm going to take advantage of it offensively. So whatever advantages they give the batter, I am 100% with it.
Well, I'd like to go back early in my career, Mo, and I'd like to make sure that there's a shift on because I know that you would have hit right into it only one time, and then we would have had to cancel it because you would have realized that going the other way would have worked just fine because you recognize getting on base matters and scoring runs matters. Hey, Mo, I really do appreciate your time. Thanks so much for calling in.
All right, good luck.
Hey, take care. Coming up next on Writer's Block with David Samson, we are going inside the numbers. We're going to talk about the Dodgers and those 8 home runs. A lot was going on yesterday, and you're going to hear about it next on Writer's Block. Welcome back to Writer's Block. This is David Samson, and guess what happened yesterday? You saw it. The Dodgers did something that no other team has ever done on opening day. That's right, 8, count them, 8 home runs. The boys in blue did mash those 8 dingers on their way to the 12-5, thrashing over the overpaid Greinke and the Diamondbacks. The offensive explosion is what we're doing right now because we're going inside the numbers. And we're starting with 3,253. You know what that is? That's the number of feet combined that these home runs traveled. That's over half a mile. It was an absolute show. It was like they were in Colorado. Guess what? We got another number for you. 26. You know what 26 is? That's the average age of the players who hit it. Youngest was Cody Bellinger. That's right, the son of Clay. Cody's only 23, but those 8 home runs, average age 26. How about 11? 11? That's right. It took 11 games for the Dodgers to reach 8 home runs as a team, and they still made the World Series last year. This year, it took them 1 game. They shaved off the first one. And we finished with 235. That's right. Last season, the Dodgers set a franchise record with 235 home runs. That was first in the National League, second in Major League Baseball behind the New York Yankees, of course, who far outpaced that number. Now, let's do some math, folks. Get out your calculator. If the Dodgers hit 8 home runs for the next 161 games, you got it, 1,296 home runs. I would say that would be a record. If I were you, I would bet on the under. You have just gone inside the numbers. All right, let's take a look at tonight's slate. There are 5 games on the schedule. A lot of teams have an off day after the home opener, just in case of rain. Not the issue right now in Los Angeles, where the Diamondbacks will try to win their first game of the season. All late games today. I definitely missed afternoon baseball, but that means you're all watching Writer's Block. Except I'm here. What am I looking for specifically? I'm looking at 3 games that I'm going to pay attention to. Number 1, let's talk about Matt Harvey. Remember Batman? Season debut for the Angels. Biggest free agent pitcher of the offseason. His agent was saying he's going to get 8 years, 10 years, a 50-year contract. He ended up with a 1-year contract with the Anaheim Angels. That's the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, for those of you paying attention at home. Is he Batman anymore, or is he a journeyman starter? Well, he's got about 34 starts to prove his worth, and it starts tonight. Pay attention. We are going to find out if there's a chance he can have a good season and resurrect his career. Second game I'm looking at, Charlie Morton. Remember him, Houston Astros? Well, guess what? With the Tampa Bay Rays this year, they signed him to a 2-year, $30 million contract. Wouldn't you love to know that he opens the season against his former team? As a former team executive, I always pay attention to the players I let go in free agency or traded away, and don't think the Astros brass are not rooting very hard against Charlie Morton tonight. Yes, they want to win their second game in a row, but I assure you they want to beat Charlie Morton so they can go to the owner and say, look, we did the right thing. We've got Garrett Cole going, we let Keuchel go, we let Morton go, and we're still going to compete for and maybe win the World Series. Third game I'm looking at, because I can watch 3, split screen. I got my devices. Red Sox. They started defending the World Series last night. It was a sure lock that Chris Sale was going to win the game. Well, 5 home runs from Seattle later, and it was an absolute debacle for the Red Sox. Mariners come in at 3-0, best record in Major League Baseball. The Red Sox, who, by the way, lost their first game each of their previous 3 seasons winning the World Series, will try to even the score. But they've got Eovaldi going. Interesting, he was brought in late last year, as you recall, had an unbelievable postseason run. Remember when he came in out of the bullpen and threw 95 pitches, gave up the game winner to Max Muncy, but it was an amazing job. Well, now he is a full-time starter, a full-time player with a long-term deal. I loved him when he was with the Marlins. He is a great guy. I'm glad he got paid, but it's much different coming in as the savior versus starting a season and being counted on as a top-of-the-rotation starter all through the season. So Nate Eovaldi, he's tried to break the losing streak of only one of the Boston Red Sox. That's all the show we have for you. This is David Samson filling in for Bill Reiter for Writer's Block. We'll see you again.